This week on Gym Right Live, we interview Gym Right growth specialist and thriving gym owner, Missy Henry, for our final installment of our special three-part series of Ask Me Anything, where Missy is going to answer your questions from our community here live on the air. Now, before we get started, for all of you listening to this via podcast, be sure to check out the video version of this interview and the extensive show notes at gymright.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a 5-star rating and written review. If you'd like to watch the show live, we record every Friday in the network, which is our free private Facebook group for the motivated gym owners of the world. So be sure to join the community there to get in on the action in real time and get your own question answered by our team and special guests. Okay, back to the show.
Dance every time.
That is right, Missy. I do dance every time. All right, guys. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Gym Right Live. I am your host, Marcus Gurzy, and this week we welcome to the show special guest, Gym Right growth specialist and gym owner, the lovely Missy Henry. Welcome to the show, Missy. It's a pleasure to have you on with us again.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, as I mentioned during the intro, today's show is part 3 of a special 3-part series of Ask Me Anything here on Gym Right Live, where you guys get to submit your questions for our growth specialist to answer live on the show. We already have some questions we gathered from you earlier this week, but if you have your own questions that come up while you're watching this live, feel free to post them to the comments below, and we will try to get to as many of them as we can during the show. So this concept spawned when I was on a call with our gym growth specialist a few weeks ago, coaches Bradley, Missy, and Tyler. And there was a topic that kept making its way into our conversation. And that topic was the huge shift in how everything is done in the gym industry over the last years and how much it has changed. Put simply, the way we used to promote our gyms and get new members, engage with our members, and cultivate happy and loyal tribe of people who love to train just doesn't cut it anymore. That's why for these 3 episodes of Gym Right Live, we are highlighting each one of our gym growth specialists who live in vastly different parts of the country, have different styles of gyms, have specific challenges that you'll be able to relate to, and have been able to survive and thrive before, during, and after the shift. So be sure to check out last week's episode with Tyler Sullivan. He shared how he has helped so many of his clients achieve their best months ever over and over again. As well as episode 1 of the series where we interviewed Bradley Schneller, where he addressed the ever so hot topic of rebranding your CrossFit affiliate. All right, now let's start with a little background on you, Missy, so people can get to know you a little bit. Outside of working with some of our most successful gyms all over the world, you also own and operate what I would consider one of the top-notch training facilities in the country, Edge Body Boot Camp Omaha. Now, you are someone who I would also consider a shining example of what a success as a gym owner looks like, because your facility is not only thriving with a strong and engaged member base, but you have a successful nutrition program upsell. You have even your own branded supplements that you guys sell there. I mean, you've built the kind of gym that I know so many gym owners aspire to own. And congrats on the recent expansion, by the way. Your new facility looks amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting.
So how long have you been in the gym business, Missy?
So gym business, definitely creeping up over a decade, but then gym owner space has been, we're coming up on 4 years in December. So it's crazy.
So 4 years. So for those of you watching, from 4 years, she went from not being a gym owner to being a gym owner and rocking it with mad style, if I may say so myself. What was your journey from wanting to open your own gym to now as a thriving gym owner like?
So I guess like maybe many of you or like a lot of the clients that I work with, I was obviously clearly in the fitness space. Got my bachelor's and master's in exercise science. I was a personal trainer, a strength coach, assistant manager of a commercial gym, kind of did sports enhancement, worked with special populations and MS patients, and I kind of did a lot of different things. And then I moved back to Omaha, and I was a professor at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. And it was really, teaching got me back to my hometown, and I missed working with people. Like, I loved teaching future trainers how to go and do it. But then I missed, and as much as I love teaching, but I also missed working with people kind of on the front line. And the beauty of being a professor is I had some more time. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my dream and I'm going to open up a gym. And I kind of had this mental idea of my own philosophy, the way that I wanted to do things, the things that I hated from some of the other experiences I had. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do those things. I'm going to create something different. And so I was the gym owner that was like, oh my God, did I just personally guarantee this like $150,000 like 3-year lease over time? Like, you're like, did that just happen? I think I'm gonna cry. Like, what did I just do? And I think we had 10 kettlebells, like a 3 squat station rig from Rogue, like on the side of the wall, and like 10 wall balls. And it was like, I remember my husband going, okay, what do we need to open the doors? And then like, that's what we need. And then that's like what happened. And it was like, all right, as we started to grow members, we started to get more equipment and stuff like that. So it was definitely the journey of, okay, like, we're just going to make it work. We're going to do what we can. We're going to do, you know, the things to best of my ability, because it was just me and I was also teaching. So it's, you look back and you're like, why did I do that? Why was I doing that? But it was the best decision at the time. And so I think that's what the biggest thing is, that just taking action, and then you just make it better when you can make it better. And then you blink and it's been 4 years and you're like, oh my God, how did we get here? So,
yeah, I think a lot of people think that there is, you know, that everything needs to be perfect to start. Like, when's the right time to start a business? And it's like, it's not when you have, there's never going to be a right time. There's no right time to get married, right time to have kids, the right time to start a business. It's when you're excited and you're willing to go in and you just start. And, you know, you work with what you have. Like in your case, you started with very little equipment and you just added a little bit, you learned a little bit, you grew a little bit. And it's a lot like, I mean, that never really changes as an entrepreneur, is that you just, you work with what you have today, from whether it's knowledge, it's resources, capital, whatever it is, to make the best decisions you can. But the point is that you're actively, continuously trying to grow and make it better over and over again. How many members do you guys currently have at Edgebody?
Right now we're at 285. And so we've gone closer to 300, and then we've been kind of fluctuating at 285 right now.
Awesome. And that's pretty incredible. Again, in 4 years, you know, you're at 285. I know that the gym is not just 285, like you're barely hanging on for dear life. You guys are a solid 285 because you guys have incredible engagement, tons of internal events, and just a really healthy culture. And it's becoming more and more rare with the larger gyms that I see, in that, you know, there's this kind of shift happening in the marketplace where people are going back to just like this overly business approach, and either it's all culture, no business, and they're dying on the vine, or they're just like super business, no culture, just member machine. And although that looks great on paper, and if you're just talking business, that's great, but I don't think that's why most people get into this business. So it's like, where's that sweet spot in the middle? So nice job on that.
Thanks.
Now, let's start with some of these questions from our community. So on the last Gym Right Live you were on, you discussed your membership appreciation weeks and how they've become a huge hit for you. How do you structure it, and how do you internally market events like that so that they make the biggest impact?
Yeah, so Member Appreciation Week is one of my favorite things. And what I do is, it's a week all about the members, just really like, okay, what can I create that's maybe something a little bit different than like the last week that we did. So it's still something like new and exciting, but just really wanting them to feel appreciated, lack of a better word, like no pun intended. So we do, it's planned out, but then things kind of are a surprise to them. So they know things are coming, but we kind of have flash sales on different days out of the week. So maybe on Monday, it's 20% off protein. Or on Friday, it's, you know, flash sale, 20% off branch chains. Or, you know, like something like that, where it pops up, flyers are ready so that it's announced, boom, at the 5 a.m. class. So like anytime that day, they get to take advantage of some of those discounts. And then multiple days out of the week, We'll have a big Gatorade cooler with our branch chains like iced down, ready to go. Bananas, oranges, protein balls, all these different things, like snacks and kind of healthy treats that they can take after class as just kind of appreciation. And then each day there's a little extra workout challenge. Sometimes I do something like minute to win it games where there's no skill involved and it's funny, like filling 2-liter bottles with gumballs and watching people shake them after they just did like a heavy arm day is pretty hilarious. And then other things are just extra workout challenges, like we're going to do a mile or like an extra little wad at the end. And then just anybody that participates in those gets to enter their name into a raffle for like some big grand prize raffles that we do at the end of the week. Mm-hmm. And I'll raffle off discounted nutrition coaching, raffle off some personal training sessions. I've even taken away somebody's like month membership. So given away a month free just from being in the gym and engaging and kind of as like a fun raffle thank you. This last time we did a fun kind of healthy bingo all week. And they had to turn in their cards for each successful bingo. It got their name entered in 5 times into the raffle. So there was an encouragement. But then on the bingo card, some of the things were like, take a picture after a workout, post it on Facebook. Do one of the at-home workouts on the blog, post it, and tag yourself. So then it was like, showing the community that they're being healthy as well. So it was kind of like a fun twist, and that did really, really well. And there was a lot of engagement. And I've had coaches, like we've handwritten thank you cards. And I have so many ideas even for this next one coming up in the fall. So it's just have structure and plan kind of the semantics, and then just have fun with what you're deciding to do for each little thing. And then it's from there, it's letting the members know what's coming, flyers in the gym, it's posted in the newsletter. We do little fun live videos, getting them excited so that it gets to the point where members are like, crap, I'm going to be out of town. Why do you do that? Why do you do Member Appreciation Week when I'm going to be gone? And so, they really look forward to it. And that's the whole point.
Yeah. And and how often do you guys host these?
I like to do them twice a year. So we usually do one like in the spring. And then I'm gearing up. The next one will be either end of October, early November. And my reasoning, or I guess thought process behind that was, especially like in the gym business, some people are motivated for a time and maybe they fall off the wagon and then make their way back to the gym. Or think of all the new members that we've gotten since April that haven't experienced that yet. And so I like to make sure that there's really something in everybody's kind of first quarter of being in the gym where they are really getting a taste of what we do for our members. So then in the spring and fall, it's like even members that have experienced it before, they love it. They're getting fun goodies and stuff like that. But then that way, any new members like over the summer, fall, winter don't have to wait all the way until the spring again to realize that we do these like really cool things for them.
Beautiful. And how have you seen, what are the benefits and positive side effects you've gotten as a business from doing these events?
People, people want to I feel like the gym became a place where like people want to tell their friends that they go here. Like people want to tell people about their experiences. Like people post their own workout success pictures. People, tag themselves in things, and they want to talk about it. They want to come and hang out. It's that engagement, like being fun and silly and stuff like that, distracts from the workout. So then our member page on Facebook is super engaged of people just want to help people. People just want to help each other out in classes. They get to know each other. It makes all the social events, more engaged when they're doing, some fun things like that. And it's just not always about working out. And then you start to see friendships and stuff made of people that they've met in the gym. And yes, it's super important that you have a coaching staff that holds people accountable so that they want to stick in the habit. But this creates a situation where, I'm noticing when my 4:30 people aren't there, but then there's also 26 other people that are noticing when a 4:30 person isn't there. And so you're not just letting your coach down. It's like people feel like, oh God, my people texted me. They wanted to know where I was at. and you can't, it's just fostering that community, and that tribe. And it makes a big difference.
Beautiful. What's the most important external marketing tactic or practice you would suggest a gym owner do?
Make videos. Make videos and social media marketing, internet marketing, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. It's crazy how much more engagement rich media video gets as opposed to just posting a pic or posting even, like so many people, I still see post these massive posts all written out. And if you are someone who enjoys reading good copy, and taking, 10 minutes to read this post, it's like, okay, great. But that's not it does not get the same traction. It does not get the same amount of engagement as just some short to the point rich media does, because people want to feel like they're hearing you. It's easier to consume, right? It's less work. They can have it going and look away. And all sorts of reasons. So it's all about rich media content.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you are a mom, a wife, a business coach, a gym owner. How the heck do you spend most of your time at the gym? Are you working with members? Is it coaches development? Is it admin stuff? What are you doing?
I know it may seem a little weird, but it's honestly like the main thing that I do is culture development. So I have, whether that's a day, spent on content, a day spent on, still looking over the programming. I really if there was an umbrella for what I do, it's realizing the things that got us here. And then I am just governing the hell out of that to make sure that that stamp is on everything. So, planning for coaches meetings, paying attention to the culture on the floor, our coaches, are coaches delivering that product that we've really promised our members, and we're delivering when we talk about our vision and stuff like that. And so everything that I do is for culture control. Make sure that, from the way the gym looks to the content that goes out to what we're saying to our members is all embodied into really the vision that I had created for the gym. And I can tell you right now, the months that I got a little too heavy with admin stuff, I got a little too heavy with coaching, or the months that I got a little too heavy dealing with, staff stuff and things like that, you can tell in the numbers. And so I have gotten so much better that is my job now.
Exactly right. Now, you guys crank out a lot of really good content, specifically video. How did you build the skill of being so engaging and comfortable on camera? Do you have any practices you can recommend for dealing with nervousness when recording video content, or were you just born this way?
Well, and Mark knows I'm going to say this. Yeah, I was born this way, so then everyone else you're screwed. No, I'm just kidding. So I do not have a problem talking. You've clearly.
Yeah, this is your fourth episode. I think you've been on this show more than anybody else.
He's like, quick answer, stop talking. I have no control over it. But no, I have no problem speaking. Public speaking is my gift. But for videos, you have to just do them. That it's the same thing as opening a gym. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be super polished. And in the industry, the overly polished crap is not the stuff that people identify with. And so the more authentic you are, even if you think you're silly, even if you mess your words up, you're human. And people want to see that. And so you got to just start doing it and just go live a couple times and you get better real quick. I promise you, do a couple live videos where you feel like you're just talking to your members and people and you're going to get better at videos way faster than you ever dreamed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's just, I think, just repetition. There's no prep. There's all these little tricks they'll teach you. I've worked with different producers and whatnot, where they, for example, one guy was imagine, think of a pretty girl that you always had a crush on, and imagine that she's standing behind the camera and you're just talking to her, and just made, now I'm like, now you made it weird. Now I'm like trying to spit game at the camera rather than like teach anything. So yeah, there's all sorts of silly stuff out there. And I think it just boils down to just starting it. Just do it. Be authentic. Be yourself. Have a sense of humor. Relax. If you screw up, laugh. Who cares? I think your community specifically is they're gonna relate to that person, that version of you. And also, I think that gives you a little bit more. It makes you more real when it shows you making little mistakes and whatnot. And they like that, right? Because you're really kind of like the almighty coach at the gym or the owner of the gym, and then you're being silly on camera. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, next question. What is your favorite thing to teach your coaching clients about growing a better, more profitable box?
Processes. And if I would have told myself that that's the answer I was going to give like 2 years ago, I would have laughed. Processes, because I love content. I love talking about social media stuff. I love doing those things. But ultimately, my favorite thing to teach is, nope, you need a process for that. Okay, so how do you want that to look? Good. Now we're going to put it on paper, and it's going to be a process that you can follow, that someone else can follow, that you can teach someone. Because, it is. And my brain is that way. But that's probably the biggest lesson I had to learn, was getting that stuff on paper to try to recreate this chaos for other people to do it. And so that's by far my favorite thing to teach. Yeah,
I can totally relate to that. I mean, processes are one of my favorite things as well. And it's actually something I've heard from your clients that you've coached, that they love how you don't just teach the theory and take them through what they're going to be doing per se. You help them create the system to actually implement it and make sure that they're actually creating some documentation, that there's an actual like rollout plan rather than just like, here it is, go do it. And that's so important, especially for a lot of people who are still, I think, trying to find how they can start implementing things. Because I think a lot of people are consuming a lot of good podcasts. There's a lot of great content in our space about, different tricks of the trade and great interviews, all over the place. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to implementation.
Yeah.
Can you put it into practice? And I constantly hear that from the people you work with. If you could give one piece of advice to the gym owners out there, what would it be?
One piece of advice. Well, we kind of just talked about it a little bit, but you have to take action. You have to do something. And that seems really arbitrary, but it is. Like, we're in this paralysis by analysis. Like, I listen to podcasts. I went to a Tony Robbins seminar. I went to a mastermind. I read this book. I read this other book. And I like to take pictures of all my books and all of these things and like be very, very philosophical. And then it's like, okay, so then how did you implement that in your business? And people are like, well, I didn't know where to start. Or, well, right. I just had too many ideas. You have to do something. And so it's never going to be perfect. So if you take a look out and you're like, ooh, yeah, programming, not really loving it right now, change it tomorrow. Do something that changes it for the better tomorrow. Whether it's implementing a different structure, something else, same thing with your processes. My free trial process or, doing something like that. That's just not the way we do things. I don't love it. I haven't loved it for 6 months. What do I do? Next person that comes in, do something different. Yep.
Speed of implementation.
And they're like, what? Well, how do I know? You'll know because you'll learn. Like, did it work? Did it not work? And I promise you, changing like your mindset around that, making like those little tiny mistakes is like the best way to learn. And there's really no right or wrong thing to do other than just being rude in the service business. So it's like you'll learn, like you'll say, oh, okay, I got some feedback now. Now I kind of have a direction to go in the future. So
it's an important muscle to strengthen, right? Is having an idea or having several ideas and saying, well, I'm going to start trying now rather than being in that now you got me started, paralysis by analysis and just not taking any action. Yeah. We have to take action. And even if it's not necessarily the right action, it's still a step further forward, right? We're still you're still going to get closer because you're either going to get it right the first time or you're going to learn that wasn't it. And you've now narrowed it down to 3 options from 4 and so on. And your intuition I think as an entrepreneur, that's the muscle we're strengthening. Your intuition becomes better between connecting theory and actual application the more that you practice and strengthen this muscle. So embracing that, kind of putting aside the really, really short-term and short-sighted little fears and things that keep us from doing anything. It's like, look, no, you may not get a perfect score, or yes, there may be one member out of your 100 members that says like, I don't like that. Who cares?
Oh, yeah.
Do it. You're doing it for the right. If you have good intentions and you're willing to lean in and see something through, try it. See what happens. So,
and like
advice.
big secret that I don't tell anybody. I have a stack of this many books that I'm supposed to read that I've been recommended, and I've read this many. Because sometimes I feel like, oh my God, but I'm just too busy doing things. Like, I need to read this book that's on like leadership, or I got recommended this book on business stuff. I got recommended this book on life-work balance. And then I was like, wait, I was actually too busy just taking a couple hours off to like spend time with my daughter. Oh wait, isn't that what it's all about? So like, yes, like I still recommend books. Like I still recommend podcasts. Like I still do those things, and audiobooks are your friend. But like you get to a point where you're just too busy doing rather than attempting to just sit and take in info, because sometimes that is what's keeping us from implementing the few things that you just read. So if you're going to read a book, you have to implement it before you read another book. And that's all that I'm going to say, because I see it all the time.
Great piece of advice. Yep. Awesome, Missy. Well, where can people find more about you?
More about me, Coach Missy 17 on Instagram, and then edgebodyomaha.com. You can see some of these crazy, unprofessional videos that somehow people watch on our website and blog, and then more info, I guess, about kind of what we do in our strength and conditioning and nutrition programs, and then my crazy life on Coach Missy Instagram, because I got some personal brand stuff I'm working on here in the near future, so then you'll get a chance to kind of see some of that stuff. So
Getting it done.
Getting it done. I'm trying.
Awesome. Well, on that note, Missy, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure having you on the show. And I want to thank all of you motivated gym owners out there for joining us today as well. Again, if you're listening to this via podcast, be sure to check out the video version of this interview along with the extensive show notes at gymright.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Your support means the world to us. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can join the conversation every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in the network. I know today was a little bit later, but that's because Missy is a diva and we had to adjust it until 12:30. No, last minute change around in the schedules. But check us out in the network every Friday, usually at 10 o'clock. Thanks again for all of your support. Now get out there and build something that matters. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.